All right, let's see how this works. All right, so for cotangent, again, it's just going to be the reciprocals of tangent. So if you look back at your tangent ones, we're just going to do the reciprocals of them. Okay? So that first one, the reciprocal of 0 would be undefined. Reciprocal of 1 would still be 1. Reciprocal of undefined would be 0, right? Because that was 0 in the denominator. Now 0 is on the top. Okay? Negative 1 is just negative 1. 0 again is undefined. 1 is 1. This is 0. Negative 1. Undefined. 1. 0. Negative 1. Undefined. All right, so let's graph them now. Again, notice my scale has stayed the same. It's still pi over 4s. That are my tick marks, my units. Because this is going to have the same period of pi. All right, so asymptote at negative pi. Negative 3 pi over 4, I'm at 1, so that's up here. Then negative pi over 2, I'm at 0, and then negative pi over 4, I'm at negative 1, so that's down here, and I have an asymptote. Okay, so it's the same idea with your curve. You're going to connect these. It does a little squiggle, but notice it's flipped. Why? Because it's the reciprocal of tangent, right? So it's going to be flipped. Make sense? The other thing that's different is that your asymptotes have been shifted over now. Now we have an asymptote at 0, another asymptote at pi, another asymptote at 2 pi, okay? And then this pattern just repeats itself. Okay, so we no longer have that straddling the y-axis issue. We can just go from 0 to pi and get our 1 period. It does still start with an asymptote, end with an asymptote, and this time, though, it squiggles down instead of squiggles up. 1 period is still pi. All right, so no amplitude again. We still have that max of infinity and min of negative infinity. Period length, again, is pi, which, again, we're not using 2 pi over b. We're just using pi over b. That's our new formula. Domain. All reals, except where those asymptotes are. In this case, they're at 0, pi, 2 pi. So we'll call that pi k, where k is an integer. Range, all reals. X-intercepts here at my negative pi over 2, 3 pi over 2. So that's where we called it pi over 2 plus pi k. Y-intercept, nada, nada, limonada. We don't have one. We've got an asymptote there. And the vertical asymptotes. In this case, they're all at those pi k's. All right, so just a little information for you. The main thing is you know how to graph them. We're still recording. That's a good thing.
So we are going to have to know how to write all the stuff at the bottom, though?
No, but I could ask you questions about some stuff, right? Like, what would be the domain? And it could be like a good multiple choice question or something like that, right? All right, so now let's graph one. Here we have cotangent of pi x. So we obviously have a period change. So I use the new formula, period equals pi over b. So it's just pi over pi. So my period is 1. Units, we still take the period and divide it by 4. So my units are 1/4. So for cotangent, the nice thing is for cotangent, I can start at 0 and just go to the right. Okay, it's not like tangent. Tangent is the only one where you go left and right from 0. Okay, all the rest of them start at 0 and go to the right with your units. So 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, and 1. Just like tangent, I'm going to start with an asymptote and end with an asymptote. But this one starts up at 1, middle, and then down at -1. And it curves. All right. Question. Let's try number 2. Cotangent, you have to factor out the b, so it's always the coefficient of x. So I factor out a 2. I'm left with x minus pi over 2 because I factored out a 2. I divided both of those by 2. So we're going to have both a period change and a phase shift. I'm going to show my work down here at the bottom so I have more space. So period is equal to pi over b, not 2 pi anymore. So that's pi over 2. So my units are period divided by 4, so pi over 2 divided by 4 gives me pi over 8. All right, since it's cotangent, I can start at 0 and go up by pi over 8. So my starting points will be 0, pi over 8, pi over 4, 3 pi over 8, and pi over 2. And then I need to go right pi over 2, so I need to add pi over 2's to all of these. These are the ones we love. All right, so I'll be at pi over 2. What is this going to be? 5 pi over 8. Does that sound right? How about this one? This would be 3 pi over 4. 7 pi over 8. And then just pi, right? All right, so those are my tick marks. And I can put them on my graph. Now, technically, it should probably be a little further over, but oh well. And cotangent starts and ends with an asymptote. First tick mark's an asymptote, last tick mark's an asymptote. Goes up at 1, down at -1. Start up, middle, down, because it's cotangent. Tangent goes the other way. And you're done. And that recorded the whole time. Ta-da! All right, that's cotangent and tangent. Any questions? All right, I'm going to give you guys some time to practice. Okay, so let me stop this video.